Hey everybody, this is Ray Flook, writer for Bleeding Cool. I'm here for our next edition of Preacher Recap. We're going to be taking a look at episode 7, Pig. As you can tell, we're doing things a little different this time. I want to try and switch it up, make things a little interesting, so we decided to go the video route this time. You may have also noticed, if you joined us last week, that we've also been doing some live blogging. We're also going to be doing live blogging again tonight at 9 o'clock, so please make sure you join us on www.bleedingcool.com. Cheap plug. But again, we're going to be mixing these things up every now and then, so instead of having you read some 1,600-word manifesto from me this week, you get a chance to actually see my pretty face instead. The other thing I want to address is this is my second time doing this, so I'm trying to loosen up a little bit. Somebody whose opinion I care about referred to me in my first one as, quote, mad stiff. Yeah, so I'm trying to loosen things up a little bit. I'm going to try and avoid doing air quotes, things like that. Also, just want to prove myself as a longtime fan. For those of you who weren't there last week for the live blog, this right here is the makings of a Jesse Custer cosplay, again, for this year's New York Comic Con. And of course, just so you know, I got this old school buddy riding shotgun with me while I'm doing this, so just so you're aware. Okay. The other thing I'm going to make you aware, too, I'm going to be covering some things, but I will occasionally look down to go to a cheat sheet. I also have cast of characters lined up, and just want to make sure you get a chance to see what goes on behind the curtains, get a chance to see how the burger makes it to the plate. So, but again, episode 7, Pig. My overall takeaway from this may not be popular. I might be stretching for this a little bit, but the biggest thing I took away from this episode was the similarities that we saw between Tulip and Herr Starr. I'll give you guys a second because you might be looking at me like, what the hell is he talking about? What I mean by that is, essentially in this episode, I saw them both as people who take down or take away what they consider to be false gods. For Herr Starr, it's pretty obvious. He's working for the Grail, but obviously working for a bigger agenda. So again, it's his job is literally to take down false gods or prophets, looking for whatever it is he's looking for, and using the Grail in the process. And Herr Starr clearly has no issues or problems with that. We'll be talking about Herr Starr and the spare parts in a second. But again, that's his role, that's his goal, that's his, whether it's to destroy or deconstruct everything because there's nothing, or if it's for a greater, bigger thing he's looking for. He literally is in the business of deconstructing false prophets. With Tulip, I thought it was interesting because you had essentially her facing down two, I guess, for lack of a better phrase, two false gods, two demons in a sense. Both Jesse and the Saint of Killers. With Jesse, it was the realization that he isn't necessarily always going to be the savior. You know, the fact that she mentions to him, like, you were late. In fact, Cassidy was the one who actually kept the Saint from killing me. I thought that was very eye-opening. I think also the fact that she doesn't feel like she can open up to him or expect him to come to her to find out what's going on, I think it is a very, very interesting perspective. I think with the Saint of Killers, I think she went from that fear and terror from last episode, which you could see was that we were going to have to deal with that, to this episode where I think you more have her essentially facing the fear of death, confronting it. That scene in the bar where she basically was like, you know, good, hit me right here, one more, one more. I think that's her basically tearing down her own demons and getting things taken care of from her perspective, not having to rely on others, but taking more ownership, especially after the entire situation that happened with Victor. Then again, that could just be my 10-cent evaluation. But again, that was my takeaway. I'd like to know what you guys think about it. Okay, from here, what we're going to do is we're going to cover some spare parts. I notice my hands are in here a little bit. I keep doing this, so yeah, I apologize, but I'm going to go now down to this just so I can have my notes and just so I basically do this justice. Okay. First thing, I love the fact that they use large letters. This may sound crazy, but I love the fact that there is never a mystery as to where we are at. If we are in Vietnam, we are in Vietnam. If we're in hell, we are in hell. I appreciate that. Herr Starr, Pip Torrent is perfect. Again, I could not. The man was born for this role. He is just knocking out of the ballpark so far. The whole backstory on Herr Starr, again, he comes across as this guy who's just this controlled anarchist. He just comes across as somebody who has his agenda, will do what is necessary. No harm, no foul, no commitment. He's got his likes, he's got his kinks, and clearly it works for him. You clearly see the makings of a guy who's going to be the Wile E. Coyote to Jesse and Tulip and Cassidy's Roadrunner. Definitely see that happening. those dead drunk carts, I said this before, but I'm going to emphasize it again. The dead drunk carts really do remind me of Monty Python and the Holy Grail when the whole bring out your dead thing. And I didn't even realize that there was a dead drunk difference in the beginning, so that even made it more so. So I thought that was very interesting. For extra cash, I'm going to be honest with you, I'd probably put on a bulletproof vest and take a bullet or two when I was in college. And be honest, money's tough. Food plans always kind of suck, so I would probably do that. Someone called the police, Jesse yells out. Now that is a true con man, because that is a con man that knows that if you call the police in the middle of a bar, pretty much everybody's taking off because they're either afraid they've done something or actually doing something that they absolutely do not want the police poking around. So I thought that was brilliant. The conning trio of Cassidy, Tulip, and Jesse, that has a lot of untapped potential because, let's be honest, having a vampire, somebody who can't die short of, I'm assuming, the stake of heart and the sun, the typical things like that, yeah, that's somebody who could be really, really useful. The Dennis and dying thing, I think kind of had that feeling was coming along. Curious to see where this plays out, if he will give Dennis his wish, or will Dennis somehow find a way to get that wish taken care of by somebody else in return for something? Dun, dun, dun. So I'm sorry, one of the best lines from Hair Star, and I want to make sure I get this correct. Like a 10-inch dick, I'll need to see it to believe it. I think that kind of goes without further commentary. Mark Herlick was a pretty good god. I gotta be honest with you, and I love the fact that the character actor and the real character actor share the same name. That confused me a couple times in doing some recaps, but I actually really did like taking that route. Locker room, yeah, the morgue locker room, one would have to think that that is an ongoing problem for vampires. If you're going to live lots and lots and lots and lots of times, there's eventually going to be something. Cassidy, for example, drugs and alcohol, ever unconscious, check a pulse, you get nothing. You're going to probably end up in a body bag. So I can figure his like, la-di-da, it's like us getting stuck on the subway. So, I got to say, masturbation is not a way I thought of getting out of a stranglehold. Not something I ever saw in UFC before. I don't know if they necessarily talk about that in The Art of War. But again, it's Hair Star. It worked and worked volumes. And I love the fact that in the background, you basically see him taking it out on with the riding crop even more, even after he's already taken the fight. Another, again, Hair Star quote. Give me the microfiche, bitch, or I will kill you and your family. I don't know why I said beach, by the way. That was odd. Again, Hair Star, very, very, very subtle with the foreplay in that exercise. Two things that made me aware about the Grail and bummed me out a little bit. In fact, the Grail killed Abraham Lincoln, which I think kind of sucks, because I think we all kind of love Abraham Lincoln. And that apparently, I do like they're sticking to this idea that the Grail basically has Jesus's, like, great, 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 great to the 47th degree, I'm assuming, grandchild. And if how it plays out, anything like it plays out in the comic book, yeah, it should be pretty interesting. In regards to that, a couple things that I didn't know about. Apparently in the series, exploding Tom Cruise, Chicago Cubs winning the World Series, Donald Trump becoming president, and a flying pig. Again, it's not like the doomsday prophet that was talking to Jesse, or the doomsday priest talking to Jesse saying that's the end of the world. It's just not always a good sign of things to come. This is probably one of the best quotes. And if you look for signs of the apocalypse, I would start with men selling off their souls. And I think that's probably a good way to leave this off. Again, we're going to be back on Monday the 7th, which is the same day you should be seeing this. We're going to be doing another live blog at 9 o'clock, and I'm going to be doing another one of these as a wrap-up. So please make sure to join me. Also, don't hesitate. Down below here, you'll have my contact information. If you want to reach me, give me thoughts, any comments, you can also comment down below too. Would really appreciate it. That would be great. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll be doing more of these. Again, your feedback is always, always needed and always loved. Appreciate it. Thank you, and I will talk to you guys next week. And Jesse, old school 80s Jesse with the feather hair, says goodbye to you. Bye.